The next topic that I will be discussing is presented in Sydney Cancer Center was how to improve a palliative patient's journey in the radiation oncology department. RT has an important role in providing the symptomatic relief and improvement in quality of life for patients with bony and soft tissue metastasis. Current clinical pathway, as you can see here, firstly getting a referral to radiation oncologist, then coming in for a consult with a radiation oncologist, and then returning for a CT simulation scan, which will purely be used for treatment planning purposes. Then patient has to wait somewhere between couple of days to a week or more before the treatment is started. This time is burdensome not only for the patient but also for the patient's family and results in unnecessarily prolonged discomfort and poor quality of life. It was hypothesized to streamline the clinical pathway by removing the need for CT simulation. Aim of this study was to investigate the feasibility of using a patient's diagnostic CT to produce palliative 3D CRT plans.
I think your the screen is not visible. Only the first slide is visible.
Let me shows that it is sharing.
No, it is visible, Dr. Maninder.
Okay. So to see if this was at all feasible, project was divided into two stages. First stage was a retrospective analysis from the database, which will help find the patients most suitable. Second stage was prospective implementation. It was begun by comparing diagnostic CTs to simulation CTs to help define potential barriers to sim-less palliation. They were assessed for field of view, difference in patient position, and other potential factors which would impact radiation dose if the CT simulation were not required, such as Hounsfield unit comparisons and its impact on dose. There was considerable variation in field of view. The first image is an example of a spine CT, which is very limited and clearly insufficient for treatment planning. Chest, abdomen, and pelvic CTs were good, but as you can see from the image on the right, the best were PET CTs. They had the largest field of view encompassing the whole patient body, but they also enabled the easy location of lesions. Next step was to replicate patient's diagnostic CT position. Lesions situated in the pelvis, abdomen, thoracic, and lumbar spine were easiest to replicate. For chest lesions, reproducibility was dependent on patient's arm position. Areas such as cervical spine and extremities were excluded. This was because, for example, the cervical spine replication of neck flexion and extension was too challenging. Hounsfield unit comparison of different tissue types were conducted, and it was found that HU values were similar to simulation CT. On assessment of the dosimetric impact of HU variance, it was found that the largest dose difference occurred through lung tissue and may have a dose error up to 5%. The selection of beam energies also mattered. Higher beam energies reduce the effect of HU variance. All these factors put together affected the PTV coverage. Plans with predominantly soft tissue anatomy exhibited less variance in PTV coverage compared with thoracic spine and chest plans. This was mainly due to the variability in the location of inhomogeneity, such as bone and lung, impacting dose calculation. On average, PTV V95% between diagnostic CT and simulation CT plans were reduced by 1%. With all this allowed the project to move on to stage 2, and this is how it was implemented. Prospective patients for palliative treatment were screened for eligibility, which were bone and soft tissue metastases, which are located in pelvis, abdomen, thoracic and lumbar vertebra, and chest. Diagnostic imaging, CT or PET CT, with adequate field of view to enable treatment planning and patient setup, and they had to be clinically current, preferably within 4 weeks. Patients were set up to best replicate their diagnostic position and seated. This was performed so as a backup plan would be available if diagnostic position could not be replicated at treatment. To overcome a flat-top treatment couch, a custom curved backpack was used to assist in reproducing the patient's posterior body contour. The volumes were controlled on diagnostic CT and they were checked on simulation CT. Treatment planning was done on both diagnostic CT and replicated on the simulation CT dataset only to be used as a backup. Pre-treatment CBCTs were performed. Either a bone or soft tissue match was done and patient's body contour checked to ensure that they were within 2 centimeters of tolerance. If an appropriate image match could not be achieved, then SimCT plan were used. If it was achieved, then we proceeded to deliver the diagnostic plan. Post-treatment, actual delivered dose was compared to what was planned. For this, delivered plan was recalculated on the acquired CBCT and compared. For the result of stage 2, 30 patients were treated from a range of anatomical sites and dose fractionations. A total of 87 fractions were delivered, with the majority being bone metastasis. For all fractions for 30 patients, only diagnostic CT plans were delivered. Post-treatment dosimetric comparison between CBCT and diagnostic CT plans showed PTB V95% ranged between -2 to 2.5%. So for palliative intent treatment, clinically acceptable plans using a patient's diagnostic CT were successfully produced and were able to successfully replicate their diagnostic position for treatment, thereby removing the need for a SIM-CT in selected patient. With this seamless pathway, plans can be available at patient's initial consult with their radiation oncologist, allowing same-day treatment, reducing patient wait times, and expediting the delivery of radiotherapy to improve quality of life for palliative patients. Thank you.